patch 10.2.6 watch.
10.2.6 watch. What's happening here? There's Muffinus with his skull bones. I mean...
Holly was the chicken. Muffinus was the drumstick. There we go.
Yeah. So, like... It has to be pirates, right? It can't not be pirates.
Yeah.
And there's no reason for it not to be pirates, because when Ibarra, ex-president, may he find hypergrowth opportunities across the world, when he said no pirates, he was talking about the expansion, which is not 10.2.6, that's a patch. So it's definitely going to be pirates, right?
Squawks. Captain Squawks is on Amazon, Twitch, Prime Gaming.
Completely correct. Where is he at? He's here somewhere.
Yeah, there it
Captain
is.
Crackers.
Captain Crackers,
Squawks
not
is the other one.
Squawks. Yeah.
Squawks is the one from...
It's a mount, right?
From Freehold.
So, that's piratey. Yeah, seems like it's pirates. Big question, right? How much do you think that this patch is actually going to have? Second part of that, do you think 10.2.6 is going to be tied into Season 4? As in 10.2.6, and then the next week Season 4 starts. Because if they wanted some sort of theme, right? Like a theme that could run through the dungeons. I mean, one way you could do that is a little bit of War Within. Say that there's voidy things, that gives us our new affixes. Or you make it a pirate invasion of the raids. Which, I mean, technically would make absolutely no narrative sense. Don't know why pirates would be raiding the Vault of the Incarnates when, Rezagat's already dead. But, theme.
Yeah, so I think exactly worrying about that stuff is kind of a bit... we've had a live update, which is, here's the actual timing that you're talking about. You're expecting this to lead directly in.
I was terrified. I thought that whenever I saw Tej put SMH, and I thought, oh god, no.
Oh no, I put the SMH.
No. Okay, I thought, oh no, they've done it. They've went and announced the patch. We've got to redo the WoW news. We're safe.
Watch, it turns out the WoW music gets changed to Ailstorm songs. That would slap. That would go hard.
I'm down.
Yeah, so we're talking about this kind of little area here being, you can see it, this little area of, this seems like a pretty short period of time. And this is fairly early at the start of spring, if we're putting any weight into the fact that this is this shape and size and proportions and stuff. So we're expecting this to be reasonably one big burst of stuff happening.
Yeah.
It would also give 10.2.6 as a literal patch, would also be, here's the time for us to put the faded things into the physical game. Because obviously you need to patch stuff into your game if you're making things. I can't imagine you can hotfix the entirety of a faded rating. So that's likely what that is. So is it going to be a case of we're going to get like you say, like a loose narrative framework for the patch? Because obviously Dark Heart is our named patch.
Yes.
That's when, obviously there could be a name for this patch, just don't know it. But 10.2.7 is our actual named patch that goes, here's the I guess the epilogues are done. Here is the prologue to the War Within. So, the prologue to the War Within pre-patch, which will probably not have much narrative in it, except a little bit, because you can't have that split between narrative and content. So, I guess that means whatever it is, I don't know about it being like a direct thing to the faded raids, right? But to hamstring yourself as a developer by going, well, it doesn't make sense if anything changes the raids because the raids are over. Then you go...
Oh yeah, it's also called Dragonflight Raids Revisit. Like, sorry guys, you've already killed Rezagat. Wouldn't make sense. We've cancelled all the content.
Yeah, and then like the War Within's new feature is you can only get one lockout of a raid and that's it. So I wonder, like, there's too much possibility without really knowing, obviously, because especially if all bets are off because it's not super serious and it's like not like a goofy narrative framing, but a narrative framing that doesn't have to be canonical. Then you can kind of go, well, okay, the pirates have invaded the raids and there's now pirates everywhere in them for some reason. And they like have affixes that are like kind of piratey related or thematic, or it could just be literal, like, because obviously the way they like to handle this game recently is pretty much separate content, right?
Yeah.
Whereas like, here's the content for the Sweat Lords. Here's the content for whoever else is playing, whoever else doing whatever else. So I wonder if it's just like, here's going to be a little gameplay experiment with a little bit of narrative framing is fun. And it's going to have no connection to Season 4. That's what I imagine. Because that seems like the cleanest way to do it. Especially if they're working on the 10.2.6 stuff down to the wire in terms of experimentation and gameplay and trying to figure out narrative things like that, then I would imagine they would want to, because they are very much X works on X, Y works on Y, Z works on Z as a company, seemingly.
Yeah, how the departments are split up, yeah.
Yeah, so then I imagine this is just going to be, we're going to get one big whack of new, cool, interesting stuff for 10.26, and then it'll be season 4 as normal. That's what I expect. Though I do expect season 4 to at least have, like, I guess, the new open world rewards will be interesting, depending how that actually goes for properly looping that in as a series of content. But I'm imagining they'll try to do something a little bit different to Shadowlands Faded, because Shadowlands Faded was sure fine, whatever. They also at least tried the
Dinars.
The Dinars, they're called. Yeah, it's called the Dinas, and that's not it. Dinars. So I'm imagining they'll do something smart with that, but we just haven't heard anything. So we're kind of fumbling around in the dark. But like, the world is our oyster.
Yeah.
What are you giving us?
I suppose gear-wise, likely some form of accelerated acquisition, or at least something that can exist, like with the Dinars. I imagine we'll get that. Everything else broadly kind of works as is, right? Now with Fated, it was basically, I mean, the affix is even just to go through one of them, like Fated Power Creation Spark charges a player doing cosmic damage every second for 30 seconds upon the removal of the charge, jettison sparks and other places. So, you know, those were just like little things applied on top of the raid, just sort of like little effects and things. I guess, yeah, I could imagine them just doing a similar thing. I'm still wondering how they like keep that feeling fresh and interesting. I'll at least say, thinking about these raids, I am more willing or like more interested to play in alts. I mean, rolling over to my paladin, maybe I'll try healing, maybe I'll try tanking, whatever. This is broadly a more fun expansion. I care more about more of my characters than how it was back in Shadowlands. So I think it's just, that's going to be almost a free win. Definitely got to wonder what they're doing for Mythic Plus. The prospect of just doing the 8 original Dragonflight dungeons, like, to me, that's kind of boring. So I would wonder, like, how they're going to shake that up. Like,
it kind of depends, right?
Like, last time it was all the mega dungeons, and those were all super goddamn cool.
Yeah, that's right. That was a fun experience. Because you don't want to just roll another season and go, I've picked another 8 that are kind of roughly here for reasons, whatever else. But you also maybe want to go for, like, you're not going to see the Dragonflight dungeons again for a while. So there might be some logic of have one last hurrah with the Dragonflight dungeons for obviously a shorter season 4 before we get rid of them for God knows how long before we see them again. So I can't imagine them re-rolling anything recent back in the same way we didn't see any Shadowlands dungeons, did we? I don't think so.
Well, Tazafesh.
Yeah, that was
none of the base ones, yeah.
Yeah, and thank God for that, to be honest.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, like, I think there's certainly a case of they're probably just going to go, at least, I don't know. I'm finding it very hard to actually say anything concrete or anything I genuinely think.
Okay,
because there's so much possibility.
In a way, it wouldn't matter too much.
Yeah.
So to think about it and contrast it to the past, looking at that roadmap, 10.26, Season 4, Dark Heart. You basically have content everywhere there, depending on what these look like. As we think about 10.26, to perhaps... Okay, number one, I wonder if that's when Brawlers Guild is going to come. I purely just say that because, I don't know why, but, you know, street fighting and pirates, sure. But they were fooling around with the Brawlers Guild. Or at least things that look like the Brawlers Guild in, like, I think Q3 of last year. We saw those data mining fragments. So
yeah, I was very sure it was going to be a 10. I think the earliest I thought it could possibly be was one of the later 10 ones.
Yeah.
So they've been throwing stuff like that in for a while. And it's definitely all Brawlers Guild coded, as opposed to anything else. And
there's other stuff. There's Vampire Survivors.
So there is, yeah.
Which is, you may hear me and think, but Michael, that's a different game. No, they had something, basically the data mining strings, they pointed to a Vampire Survivors mode. I think it was even in the 10.26, something 10.26 related that happened just before we broke for Christmas. So I don't really know what that could be. Obviously, the idea of a Vampire Survivors-like thing in WoW, you could certainly see yourself getting obviously, I know, I said Torghast, but you could imagine yourself getting Torghast-style buffs and some sort of Vampire Survivors. You know, we spawn dudes in, they try to kill you. Who knows? But something that said Vampire Survivors mode was like there as a data mine string. So it's clearly some sort of test they've done. So Brawlers Guild is one thing, Vampire Survivors mode is another thing. Then I suppose there's thinking about, there's thinking about what our pirates could be doing and the sort of narrative things that have been set up. So we know that the Night Squall wants to he wants to basically recruit from, like, the Defias and the Bloodsail, basically all of the rogues and scoundrels about. He wants to gather them into this, like, big, grand pirate fleet, and then sort of sail across the ocean to the other side of the planet, it seemed.
Yes.
That was very much like what... Yeah, I think beyond the storming seas, and the storming seas we know about because of one of the lore books found in the Emerald Dream, where it's like this tale of a green dragon who she just lives for adventure or whatever. So she says, "Screw it, I'm going to fly away." And everyone says, "No, don't do that. That's a silly idea." Nobody ever comes back. Tyr says, "But sure, you've got everything you could possibly need here. Why would you ever go?" And then she goes and. She dies. Does she die? Well, other dragons say that they've like seen, visions of her in the Emerald Dream having a brood of her own, which then would suggest that across this storming sea, again, you think about storming and you're like, Odin, Titans, lightning, and obviously the whole Azeroth having one supercontinent in Kalimdor is like a Titan thing. At least that's like kind of their line, and it's now confirmed as of... See, it's actually funny. It's confirmed as of the death or the Neltharion annotations on the Old Gods and the Ordering of Azeroth that there was another continent, which itself is a statement that unretcons a retcon that I think happened from Chronicle 1 to 2. And I could be wrong here. This is just off the top of my head. I believe Chronicle 1 said that it was the largest known landmass, but it left the door open that there was other stuff. And then another Chronicle basically was like firmly that it was only Kalimdor. So I'm thinking if that's what Night Squall wants to do, what sort of raiding about the place, what sort of banditry, what sorts of things would he want to do? I don't really know. You do, of course, have Tyr. Tyr's story just stopped. Wasn't involved in the epilogues. You got, the Tyr's Guard. Maybe they would be defending Titan-ish things from a bunch of pirate bandits. Maybe they're trying to, like, steal Titan tech so they can pass the storming seas somehow. I don't know, but those are like the toys in the narrative toy box.
Yeah, the only thing I can remember motive-wise for the Night Squall was the treasure. Infinite amounts of treasure, massive amounts of treasure. More treasure than I've ever seen before across this place, which...
I can see that being selling riches to the pirates he wants to recruit.
Yeah, could be. Could be, but without, if there's a stated narrative, it's either, well, that's either true or not. Cool.
Oh, yeah. No, yeah, so we will manifest our vision into reality.
Yeah, what were we talking about last week with metagaming the narratives?
Yeah.
Or was that the week before? Either way, but yeah, like there's yeah, it's all just a One Piece reference, definitely. It's all just they all watched One Piece on Netflix and then decided, let's just yoink loads of inspiration from that. And I don't mean that in a bad way whatsoever. Not at all. So I think it felt like it could be a large lead into, obviously we're going across that way anyway in the War Within to find all the stuff we find. So it could be a lead into that, or it could be, it could be something that's a little bit aside. I am definitely considering, based on... I'll actually throw them up here.
Oh.
Based on everything that these fuckers are doing, I say that in the most... what's the term? I forget the word. My brain doesn't work today. Good way. I mean a good way. Endearing, that's the term.
I'm just like... Well, I'm too busted to have words, and I guess he's just going to flounder for a bit.
Yes, endearing is the term I was looking for. So, endearing. It's all the, I mean that in an endearing term. They seem to be very much enjoying this. They enjoy teasing, and every single time they've tried to do this, it's always because they're like super proud of something that's in there. So I imagine this will be, I'm almost taking like weight away from the narrative angle of this. I'm assuming this will be substantially more experiential because it's being slotted between narrative. Dragonflight's over, everyone. Goodbye. cry over the Night Elves, which is great. Then here's the gameplay for you Sweat Lords, and then Dark Heart comes
you've
in
had
swinging.
a great time. You've cried over Night Elves. You've purchased a Goth transmog. It's all going pretty good.
I wouldn't have believed anything that you just said if you'd asked me like 6 months ago. So we're going somewhere. So I think that's. I imagine this will be something more profoundly gameplay oriented, but something very experimental that I don't think we'll even see again in the War Within until maybe a later patch on. So I just want to know. I've been teased enough. I just want to know. I just want to know it's something.
He just wants to know.
Yeah, that's actually a good point. DK, I'd suggest the length of the banner could indicate the size of the content segment on the path. We are so desperate for a crumb of information, for a crumb of knowledge, that we're willing to say, flag looks pretty small, mustn't be that much to it.
I mean, I bloody well hope not, because that flag is about the same size as Dragon Isle's epilogues and Reclamation of Gilneas, which themselves weren't massive.
You know what I'm thinking more than anything else?
Yeah.
I'm thinking the War Within Alpha doesn't look to be any bigger than 10.2.5. Oh no.
Hey, that alpha's soon.
It's after 10.2.6, but before Season 4.
Yeah.
Which means 10.2.6 and Season 4 can't be a week apart.
Shit, yeah.
He's been deconfirmed by his own logic.
I've been deconfirmed.
Sorry, sorry about that. So yeah, that'll put them a couple weeks apart then at least. So yeah, that's where we're at for 10.2.6. There's a huge amount of like, there's not even a huge amount of speculation because we're just in the dark. We're like, there's pirates. Oh, and there's pirates and a chicken, and the chicken is being cooked. Is this an elaborate case of them saying,
Oh my God.
Is this actually, they've replaced all of their internal like ticketing systems and, updates?
They just tweeted each other in code.
Yeah. So Holly just goes chicken, and Muffin's reply of drumstick is, it's done, it's ready to go.
All right. We need to get this shit to Bletchley Park right now.
We've cracked it. Yeah. It's just Pirates Day.
Exhume Alan Turing. We have a problem to solve.
Vampire Survivors Floor Chicken, that's a good point. Although you saying Vampire Survivors Floor Chicken hurts me because it's Castlevania Wall Chicken. Anyway.
Hey, now.
Yeah.
Okay. I like it. So, yeah. There you go. Or maybe it's just Muffin is saying it's cooked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Literally just like, what are we ordering to the office today? That would be so funny. That'd be funny.
Yep. It's not about the patch. It's about the food trucks. So, fun. I have no idea.
Well, we have to find out next week, right? We can't have more silence.
Yeah.
Because the silence is getting, like, it's not getting deafening in a bad way, because obviously we're like, there's stuff coming up, we're okay with that. It's just whatever news we get. It's just like, we live in such a world where it's like, there's been a week without any substantial news. Everyone's like, oh, kind of bored. Kind of bored. Can someone do something?
A week. Do you remember the days of the Shadowed Lands?
How we got through stream, I don't know.
How the hell did we do anything during Shadowlands?
We spent that much time in Torghast grinding. It was all fine.
Wow. Oh, what a different and pretty shitty time that was. Okay,
Yeah.
10.2.6. We'll probably find out relatively soon. One thing, like, I'm just thinking about the just all the cool things that are going on with Season of Discovery. I've got to wonder, is 10.2.6, because it's kind of, it's being framed as a strange patch, not the normal format of patch. It almost makes me wonder if any, sort of weird experiments will go on. I hope so.
It's kind of weird because the Season of Discovery experiments are really super hyper fundamental different to the core game.
Yeah.
And they can't really do that in retail. It has to be more like black boxy kind of stuff. But even then, black boxes that are in the middle that are like, hey, here's a fun bit of content you can just play the game and do. Like the prospect of them making one of those, like 2 years ago, I said, no, you're talking shit. There's no way.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, I can't wait.
Yeah.